Hello, welcome to At Home in Dublin with Ricky Porter. This is a special television program for TV 35. We feature movers and shakers, artists, writers, a variety of people. People who make a difference in our community. They enhance our culture, they make our society more pleasant. We believe that Dublin indeed is a place where we want people to come and enjoy themselves. And so this television program will give you information and present you with persons who will do just that, contribute to the life of Dublin. Today we're going to visit with a person that I interviewed before, Frenchy Hodges of the Legacy Readers Theater, but today I have her with Yvonne Lamb-Castillo. Both of them are the founders, therefore co-founders of Legacy Readers Theater. We're going to talk about this script, and you'll get a close-up on this later on in the show. TV 35 will zoom in on this. It's From Behind Bars, an in-depth review of life in prison through poetry, song, and dance, arranged by Frenchy Jolene Hodges, especially for Legacy Readers Theater here in Dublin, Georgia. The performance will be on the last Saturday of February as a part of the ongoing celebration of Black History Month. On Saturday, February the 27th at 5 p.m., the community will gather at the Dublin Middle School for dinner. Following dinner at 6 p.m., the performance will begin. So welcome to At Home in Dublin with Ricky Porter. It's good to have you again, Frenchy. And Mrs. Hodges, I don't think I've ever had you on the show before. Castillo. Oh, yeah, okay.
Just say Yvonne, that again.
Yvonne. So why don't we just keep it that way? Okay. Yvonne and Frenchy, right. Yes. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And the two of you are co-founders of Legacy Readers Theater. When was it founded?
It was founded in the latter part of 2007, and we did our first show in February 2008.
Yeah. And I was a part of your first performance in 2008.
You know, I was thinking that you were a part of it because I remember discussing with you this idea that I had, and when I actually moved forward to put it together, I remember.
Can you recall what the 2008 performance was?
Yes, the 2008 performance was a potpourri of Black poetry, African American poetry. It was thematic in the sense that it was celebrative of the best of our writing and the best of our culture songs, the spirituals.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
and the second one was too.
Okay.
And then after that, we began to do a thematic presentation.
Okay. So Legacy Readers Theater is the brainstorm of Yvonne and Frenchy. But how did that happen? I mean, what was the dynamics involved to even bring the birth of this
Well,
theater?
Frenchy and I were best friends in high school.
Is that right? And high school was Oconee High School?
Yes.
Oconee High School.
We were, and we went, after graduation, we went our separate ways. She majored in English, I majored in English. And we did theater. We were at school, we were writing poetry.
You went to different schools?
Yes,
Yes.
oh,
And where
definitely.
did you go to school?
I went to Clark in Fort Valley.
And I went to Savannah State.
Right. You went to Clark, and then later you went to Fort Valley.
I transferred to Fort Valley after 2 years.
So after graduating from Oconee High School, you went to Clark.
Yes.
Clark University, part of the Atlanta University consortium of
Yes.
schools. And where did you go, Yvonne?
Savannah State.
Savannah State, yeah.
Yes.
The historic Savannah State.
And they combined that with Armstrong after I left. It's combined with Armstrong.
Is that, I
Yes.
did not know that. Right. And so, did you all keep in contact after Oconee?
No.
No.
Absolutely
You were the best of
not.
friends in high school, but after high school?
Well, see, before she finished high school, Millville had their school constructed. And so she finished her last year at Millville.
Oh.
So
you graduated
I
from
was
Millville.
from
That's
Buckeye.
right.
She was from Millville, and never the twain shall meet except at Oconee.
And I happened to be reading the Courier Herald one day. This is moving forward, a long time forward.
Yes.
And I happened to see Frenchy. I don't really remember what the article was. And I said, Frenchy, not Frenchy. And so from that point, I contacted her because I said, Frenchy, guess who this is?
So there was an article in the Courier Herald?
She was, what were you in there for? There was an article with the photo.
Really?
And
I think someone in the county produced me reading my poetry, Pieced Away Home.
Oh.
I think it was out at Brown Chapel, CME Church.
Right. So approximately what year would this be? 2005, 2004?
Oh no, it was much earlier than that,
was,
right?
About 2000, maybe 4.
2004.
Because we collaborated how long, Frenchy?
We collaborated. I moved here in 2000, moved back here in 2003. She and I started collaborating somewhere around 2004.
Okay.
We began to collaborate.
Okay.
And we met every Tuesday at the library from 10 to 12. We were collaborating, but actually we were visiting and catching up on all
old
the
times.
years.
Right.
But we were hoping to write a definitive drama that would depict lessons for all mankind.
Oh,
we had
definitive drama, lessons for all mankind.
Great ambitions.
Well, what happened to that?
We kept on meeting.
We kept brainstorming, and it just evolved.
Yes.
You know.
And then one day, I was frustrated because Dublin doesn't have a small community theater, and I love theater. I love to be a part of it. And you know that old phrase, we are the ones we've been waiting for. It took root in me, and I said, now, if there's no theater here, what can we do? You know, and so I realized that we would have to do something portable because we didn't have a place and couldn't afford a place. And I thought about what I had done with my students in Atlanta. I led them and directed them in Reader's Theater. You know, it's hard to get children to learn things to memory, commit things to memory.
Right.
And I felt, well, if I teach them to read it a certain way,
Right.
it would be just as good as the memory would have been. And so that's where I had a little experience with Reader's Theater. And I said, well, maybe that was something that will work in Dublin. So I broached the subject with Yvonne, and you take it from there, Yvonne.
Well, we talked about adding Negro spirituals as a part of just kind of the looking back.
Specifically Negro spirituals?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And with my background in music.
And what is your background in music?
Well, I'm a music minor, English major, music minor.
From Savannah State.
From Savannah State. And having sung for years and years, and I really thought that was just a great idea. I said, I want to be a part of that, the music. So that essentially is how my role in this evolved as the musician, working with either arranging, crafting, teaching, pulling together. When she writes something, and suggest the songs that we might do and so forth. I pull together the singers, and we craft the music.
Very good.
To fit the show.
Travis's professional carpet cleaning services has been providing constant and quality carpet care for more than a decade. Call Travis's for expert cleaning and restoration of your carpet, tile, grout, upholstery, and more. Travis offers residential and commercial services in order to make your home or office a cleaner and healthier environment. Travis's professional carpet cleaning services, a leader in Lawrence and surrounding counties for more than a decade. Call now at 278-4373.
We're visiting with Frenchy Hodges and Yvonne Lamb-Castillo, co-founders of Legacy Readers Theater. And I am excited about hearing a piece from this upcoming production. Legacy Readers Theater will be performing on Saturday, the 27th of February, a dinner theater kind of production. Dinner at 5 p.m. and the performance at 6. Let's talk a little bit about this particular performance. From Behind Bars, what is this production all about?
This production is about, a lot of literature and poetry has grown out of the prison system, but we're not privy to it because prisoners don't give poetry readings unless they are free and developing poets. I only knew one, that was Etheridge Knight, and he would give readings. I knew him personally.
Oh, did you?
I did. And I lived in Detroit for a while, and he was in Joliet prison for many years, and Gwendolyn Brooks discovered him when he was in prison and turned on his writing and production creativity. And he credits her with that. Anyway, we have been doing thematic things for the last few years. We did the blues one year as a theme in poetry and literature. And last year we did laughter as a survival and maintenance characteristic of the African American culture. And this year we are doing the literature and the music that comes out of the prison that helps the prisoner maintain his humanity or express his humanity. And it also lets us in on his sensibilities, his thoughts, what his concerns or her concerns are from behind bars. Now the long title of this is From Behind Bars and Closed Doors. Because we recognize that there are other imprisoning things in our culture than prison. But we're not looking at those other things so much as we are from behind incarceration bars. And we just have a smattering in there as it touches upon people in prison.
I think it's an exciting subject matter. Were you the person that came up with the subject matter and then you shared it with Miss Yvonne?
Yes, I was the person that came up with this subject matter. I'll tell you, back in 2009, I think it was, when we did the blues, the next production, I had started dreaming of the next production. And I said, okay, we are going to do Common Ground. And between February and the fall of the year, when I start collecting materials for the production, I was attracted to the migration story. And I said, oh, well, nobody cares if I change it from Common Ground to migration, the African American movement to the north and the west. So we did the migration. I said, we'll do Common Ground next year.
Okay.
And next year came, and I don't know what it was that turned me on to the laughter. I think it was this phrase, laughing to keep from crying.
I know that phrase.
And let's see, laughing to keep from crying, moaning to keep from dying, sighing to keep from lying. Anyway, we did that as a theme last year. And so now I'm going to really do Common Ground, right? And I don't know what it was
that brought this
focus on the poetry and literature and songs of incarceration. So Common Ground is going to be next year. It will be our 10th year. It will be our anniversary, and we want to blow it up.
What was your reaction to the idea of a production that deals with material from behind bars, Miss Yvonne?
Well, when she was talking about it, I was thinking more in terms of what was happening in the news, because there's a lot of contemporary, current events.
Right.
And I run across a lot of stories about all kinds of things, but particularly our attention had been focused on Ferguson, on various
current events,
various encounters with police and other kinds of things. So when she mentioned that, I said, okay, this is something we can explore, we can get into. So we had a lot of discussions and brainstorming on it, coming up to that. What has been new for me?
It has been.
What has been new for me has been the music, the different kinds of songs I'd never heard, and being able to take those renditions and just employ them using 5 legacy musicians and putting those songs
We have
together.
2 new ones this year. The music will make you cry. Some of the music will make you cry. It is so profound and so deep.
Right. So, selecting and researching the music for this particular production has stretched you creatively and artistically.
Yes, yes.
Definitely.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about a particular point of view, and then we will eventually get an opportunity to hear one of the original pieces that will be performed on Saturday the 27th, both a poetic piece and a musical rendition by Miss Yvonne.
Yes.
The subject of incarceration is one that I find problematic in the United States, and I've taken it to heart personally in many ways. I'm sure there are many African American families who have family members who have been incarcerated or are currently incarcerated. Statistically, we have pretty much surmised that the United States is the largest holder of prisoners. In other words, if you were to look at the number of people incarcerated around the world, and you were to tally that up and you get a sum, there will be a greater number in the United States alone. And then when you look at that number of incarceration in the United States, overwhelmingly they're people of color. And so I've been especially pleased with the focus in recent years about this fact and what it means, and I think the government and church and society are addressing it. So I thought that coming up with this subject, you couldn't avoid that controversial fact that I just mentioned. But you're not dealing with the subject matter from the perspective of people of color behind bars.
No. We are appreciating the experience from many different angles. In fact, the script opens with a prayer by St. Patrick. And in researching and looking at St. Patrick, the way that it fits into our thematic take is that St. Patrick is reputed to have been kidnapped by some Irish pirates and enslaved for a number of years. And later, after he escaped captivity, he became a cleric of sorts, and he wrote that prayer, and that prayer sounds like a prisoner's prayer, a slave's prayer.
That is not the selection that you're going to present today?
No, it's not.
But I'd be interested
It's not in your script.
Is it in yours?
It's in mine.
Could you read
Yvonne
an
has
excerpt of
added
it?
It's there.
Well, find it, Yvonne. Oh, there it is. I arise today through a mighty strength, the invocation of the Trinity, through the belief in the threeness, through confession of the oneness of the Creator of creation. I arise today through the strength of Christ's birth with his baptism, through the strength of his crucifixion with his burial, through the strength of his resurrection with his ascension, through the strength of his descent from the judgment of doom. I arise today through the strength of the love of cherubim, in obedience of angels, in the service of archangels. I arise today through the strength of heaven, light of sun, radiance of moon, splendor of fire, speed of lightning, swiftness of wind, depth of sea, stability of earth, firmness of rock. I arise today through God's strength to pilot me, God's might to uphold me, God's wisdom to guide me, God's eye to look before me. God's ear to hear me, God's word to speak for me, God's hand to guard me, God's way to lie before me, God's shield to protect me, God's host to save me from the snares of devils, from temptations of vices, from everyone who shall wish me ill, afar and near, alone and in the multitude. How it goes on.
But that's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
We just heard an excerpt from Legacy Reader's upcoming performance of From Behind Bars. Very effective, very somber.
Yes.
Writing by the patron saint of Dublin, St. Patrick. I never knew he was incarcerated.
Yes, we didn't either.
Well, you read that as a way of helping me to understand why you were not focusing merely on one perspective, such as people of color.
Yes.
But I still want to stay with this for a little bit before we get to the presentation you have.
Yes.
I also thought of From Behind Bars, incarceration. I said, it's such a global subject. You know, how do you sort of deduce it? How do you sort of singular make it into a window? Did you not have some common denominator? You kept the broad landscape, poetry, creative writing from behind bars? You just kept that general theme?
Yes and no. You must recall that we also are concerned with the music.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And so sometimes the music guides what selection would be appropriate.
Okay.
So what we wanted to do was we wanted to lead people to see, walk in another person's shoes, so to speak, figuratively.
Yeah.
To see through another pair of eyes, to think of things from another viewpoint. And this is the viewpoint that informs this particular production. Okay. Even through the music.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, I am excited about hearing what you have to present.
All right, thank you for coming. I'll be back shortly.
Thank you. Dad, I'm losing my house. What should I do?
Son, your mother and I were there, and Lumen Earl filed a Chapter 13 for us. He even set up a payment plan we could afford. He saved our home, and he kept my check from garnishment. Give Lumen a call. I'm sure he could help you too.
Lumen Earl, solving people's financial problems for over 30 years. Call today for free consultation.
We are visiting with Frenchy, Hodges, and Yvonne Lamb-Castillo, co-founders of Legacy Readers Theater. And they're going to present an excerpt from the production that will be presented on Saturday, the 27th of February at 5 p.m., a dinner at Dublin Middle School, and the performance beginning at 6 p.m. From Behind Bars. So I am almost anxiously awaiting this presentation. Would you like to introduce what piece it is first?
Yes, I would like to set it up for you. The piece we are going to present and the attendant music, 16 on death row refers to the age, not the number of people. 16 on death row by Tupac Shakur when he was in Attica prison. And we'll be followed by a traditional song, Another Man Done Gone. Now, truthfully, I used to hear my dad hum that song when I was growing up. And then when I learned more about the music tradition that we have, I found it by Odetta, by Harry Belafonte, and it may have been by Leadbelly, I'm not sure. Leadbelly, as you know, was an imprisoned man who was in prison for killing a man, but he won exoneration or freedom by singing his song to the governor, addressing his song to the governor. And the governor let him be free because he.
And what state was that? The governor?
I don't know. Okay. I believe it was in
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
But anyway.
So this piece is called 16?
This piece, spoken piece, is called 16 on Death Row.
And it's written by Tupac Shakur?
And it's written by Tupac Shakur.
And he was in prison?
And he was in prison at Attica Prison. He has spent a number of different times he's been imprisoned before his untimely death.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And what about the music? For this?
And the music, Another Man Done Gone, it's a plaintive, I guess you would say, chant or moan from another prisoner. Another man done gone.
Another man done gone in terms of being imprisoned?
No, another man
died?
has left the prison.
Oh, I see. Another man in prison
now in my
died.
version, he didn't die because the last stanza says, the captain don't know where another man done gone. And another one says he had a long chain on. He had a long chain on. So he didn't die. In my book, he escaped with his chain on.
What is your take, Miss Yvonne?
Both. When I first started paying attention to it, first thing I thought about, another man has been killed.
That was my immediate thought.
One version she found says
they killed another man.
Right. And then you saw another version.
Right.
That indicated perhaps something else.
Somebody escaped.
Okay.
So it could go both ways.
Yes, yeah. It might seem too subversive for us to like the one about escaping. So why don't we go ahead and hear the piece?
16 on Death Row.
And you know what? Why don't we pause for a moment? This is our camera for the TV audience. When you wanting to glance up, why don't you speak directly to our TV audience?
Okay. 16 on Death Row by Tupac Shakur from Attica Prison. Dear Mama, these cops don't understand me. I turned to a life of crime 'cause I come from a broken family. My uncle used to touch me. I never told you that. Scared what you might do. I couldn't hold you back. I kept it deep inside. I done let it fuel my anger. I'm down for all my homies. No mercy for a stranger. The brother in my cell is 16 as well. It's hard to adapt when you're black and you're trapped in a living hell. I shouldn't have let him catch me. Instead of living sad in jail, I could have died free and happy. And my cellmates raped on the norm and passed around the dorm. You can hear his body getting torn. They made me an animal. Can't sleep instead of counting sheep. Homies counting cannibals. And that's how it is in the pen. Turn old and cold, and your soul is your best friend. My mama prayed for me. Tell the Lord to make a way for me, prepare any day for me. Why? 'Cause when they come for me, they find a struggler. To the death, I take the breath from your juggler. The trick is to never lose hope. I found my buddy hanging dead from a rope. 16 on Death Row.
Another man done gone. Another man done gone. Another man done gone. Another man done gone. Another man done gone.
Oh, well.
They killed another man. 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 I didn't know his name. 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 I didn't know his name.
Wow. We have just been treated with a very poignant selection from a performance that will be held on Saturday, the 27th of February at Dublin Middle School, From Behind Bars by Legacy Readers Theatre. And we're visiting with the co-founders, Frenchy, Hodges, and Yvonne Lamb-Castillo. That was quite moving. Quite moving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoyed that very, very much. We want to invite you to come out on Saturday, the 27th of February. Come and enjoy the dinner at 5 and enjoy the performance at 6 p.m. Legacy Readers Theatre at Dublin Middle School. I did not prep you for this, but as we move towards closure, why would you encourage, or what would you say as a word of encouragement to someone to come to this particular performance? What would be your motive or your feeling about wanting someone to be present? Now, but before you respond, I'll give my reason. As a person whose area of academic discipline is theology, when I think of From Behind Bars, I think of the Apostle Paul, who spent many, many years behind bars. And most of the New Testament is written by the Apostle Paul. Overwhelmingly, the majority is written by the Apostle Paul. And many of his letters were letters that dealt with instruction, such as the letter to the Corinthians. Matter of fact, the letter of instructions to the Church of Corinth were so severe that he had to write 2 letters. So there's 1 Corinthians and 2 Corinthians. And then some of his letters dealt purely with doctrinal issues, such as the letter to the Church of Rome, the letter to the Romans. But there is one letter in the New Testament from the Apostle Paul that is so warm and so affectionate. It overruns with feeling and emotion and heartfelt gratitude. And it is the letter to the church at Philippi. It's commonly called the letter to the Philippians. And to that letter, he pours out his heart because they remembered him while he was in prison. And they sent him many, many things to keep his spirit up. So it's a very affectionate letter behind bars from the Apostle Paul. And then, of course, we are mostly familiar with Dr. Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail. So my perspective from behind bars have been particularly influenced by these 2 great men who have enhanced Western culture significantly. So for that, my reason, I said, come to see this show because you get material that's immortal. Now, what would be your encouragement to implore people to come out on Saturday, the 27th of February?
Well, it all goes back to the vision that Yvonne and I had when we started collaborating. And I told you we wanted to teach the great lessons of the world, but I didn't tell you the rest of it. We wanted to teach. I wanted to teach what I knew for sure, and she wanted to teach through ecstasy, which was her way of saying she wanted to teach through lightness and enjoyment. Okay, So we believe that with this legacy theater, we are teaching. I enjoyed teaching the years I was teaching, but I find that it's ingrained and inbred in me. So I'm still teaching, but I wouldn't say come out to be taught. I would say come out and learn or get a new idea about this subject.
Okay.
And a new appreciation.
Yeah. So you're definitely an educator by heart.
Yeah, I am. I think I am.
Yes. The pedagogy can't go very far from you.
Yeah.
Okay. Miss Yvonne.
And my philosophy of teaching through ecstasy stems back from some productions we used to do with a group called the New Place Ensemble in Tampa, Florida. And we dealt with a lot of different kinds of subjects as a repertoire theater group.
Yeah.
However, in each case, we tried to make it, whatever the lesson was, whether it was tasteful or whether it was didn't taste so good. The person consuming it would get a certain amount of enjoyment out of it. Often, and I'm sure you're aware of this, things like humor and all will put down those guards say, you're not going to teach me anything.
Yeah.
But
through
finding
ecstasy.
ways to make something enjoyable and getting her message across at the same time.
Yes. Thank you for being with us at Home in Dublin with Ricky Porter. And I encourage you to come out on Saturday, the 27th of February at Dublin Middle School. Enjoy the scrumptious meal at 5 p.m. and enjoy the performance at 6 p.m. From Behind Bars, a Reader's Theater performance written by Frenchy Hodges and produced by Frenchy Hodges and Yvonne Lamb-Castillo. Thank you very, very much for being with me today.
Thank you for having us.
You absolutely, I've been blessed. Thank you and goodbye.